Alright, what's going on, y'all? This week officially starts the first week of the cut. In this video, I'm going to explain how long I'm doing this cut for, why I'm doing this cut, but I'm also going to be explaining the 4 big mistakes a lot of people make when cutting that allows them to get lean, but never actually shredded. And the people that do get shredded, but they lose a lot of muscle on the way. So I'm going to talk about how to avoid these 4 mistakes. That way you can get shredded, and you can get shredded with quite a bit of lean, hard, dense muscle at the end of your cut. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and whip up some breakfast. I'll show you what that breakfast is and we'll get into mistake number 1. All right, just whipped up breakfast. This is a pretty standard breakfast for me. So I've got my eggs here. That's 190 grams of egg whites with 2 whole eggs, and then a really good hot sauce that I get at H-E-B around here. And then for my oats, I've got 80 grams of oats with cinnamon powder thrown all over top. And then every morning I have 2 cups of black coffee and then BPN strong greens. So that's what I'm having this morning to have for breakfast, my first meal. So that leads into the first mistake when cutting. And this is one of the biggest mistakes, if not the biggest mistake, because this will affect you on how much fat you actually lose and whether or not you maintain your muscle mass as you're cutting. If you do this wrong, you'll not get as shredded as you want, and 2, you'll lose a lot of muscle along the way. And that's cutting your calories way too fast. I see all the time people will go from, the top end of their bulk. They might be sitting at 3,200 calories, or they might be maintaining at 3,000 calories. And then when they start their cut, they immediately drop their calories all the way down to, say, 2,000 calories. If you do that, you're gonna be hurting yourself on multiple levels. 1, you're gonna make it harder for you to actually get that like super shredded look, because your metabolism is gonna slow down very, very quickly. It's gonna adapt to that new calorie level, and your metabolism is gonna slow. And then in order for you to keep dropping the fat, you're gonna have to keep upping the cardio and keep dropping your calories even more. And if you've dropped them already down to 2,000, dropping below that, you're gonna have trouble keeping the muscle on your frame. And so that leads into the second problem with this. If you drop your calories too drastically, too quickly, it will be harder to maintain your muscle throughout your cut. And if you drop them too quickly, you'll go down on intensity in the gym, which will again cause you to lose a lot more overall size than if you tapered them down. So the way to cut properly is, say you are maintaining with 3,200 calories, go ahead and drop maybe 200 to 400 calories from the start. So you might be at 2,800 calories, 3,000 calories for the first couple weeks. Then when you kind of hit a little weight plateau, then you can go ahead and drop it from there. But you want to go ahead and taper your calories down throughout the cut, throughout the course of, whether your cut's 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks long, just gradually drop it down. That'll allow you to, 1, keep dropping fat very, very efficiently without having to, jack up the cardio a ton in the beginning. And 2, it'll allow you to keep more muscle on your frame. So mistake number 1 is definitely one you want to avoid. Go ahead and taper your calories down rather than just drastically cutting them. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and get this breakfast down, get ready for the gym. Today we've got a pretty awesome arm day, so I'll go ahead and see you guys at the gym. All right, we're here at Lift ATX, getting ready to go through this arms workout. So how this is gonna roll out is we've got 3 movements on bis and 3 on tris. Rather than doing, all 3 consecutive for bis and then moving on to tris, I'm gonna alternate them. So I'm gonna do bis, then tris, and bis, and tris. I found I'm able to get much greater top sets and loads with alternating rather than doing it consecutive. And with that, I am doing high intensity. So rather than doing 4 sets pyramiding up, I'm going to do 2 warm-up sets per movement and then a top set, and that's going to be the heaviest set, and then move into a back off set. And the back off set will either be a drop set or rest pause set to keep the intensity high. All the rest periods on this are going to be about 30 seconds to a minute max, so they'll be about 45 seconds. But let's go ahead and get this arm workout going.
Me go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Countdown, levitate, going up, elevate. Watch me demonstrate. On time, never late. I grind, celebrate. No pump, fake, hesitate. I've been scoring every day. Champagne Perrier. Since 9-3, been in the box, now I'm stepping up to home. Like straight out the sand lot, now I'm plotting on the globe. I work hard, I show love, that call me steady growing. Got this far, I go hard, let God take control.
All right, just finished up that arms workout. It's pretty humid today here in Austin, Texas, and Lift ATX is a pretty hardcore warehouse gym, so got pretty sweaty on that one, but it was all good. So the mistake number 2 that you definitely don't want to do when you're cutting is adding in cardio too quickly. A lot of people, especially more on the just physique side, one's trying to get as shredded as possible with the most amount of muscle possible. A lot of times they go from doing essentially no cardio or only cardio, say 2 to 3 times a week, to all of a sudden every single day doing 30 minutes plus of cardio. Just like tapering down your calories, you also want to taper up the cardio. Cardio is a tool to help you lose fat, but if you go ahead and you create too much of a caloric deficit, which if you add too much cardio you will, you run into the same problems as if you were dropping your calories too quickly. One, your metabolism just frankly is not going to be able to keep up with it, and 2, you're going to be losing a lot of good quality size if you ramp it up too quickly. You want to go ahead and create that calorie deficit, but you want to essentially create it in a slow, very, very manageable way. Now, if you're a hybrid athlete and you are a runner or you're an endurance athlete, like what we talk about a lot about on this channel, you're going to have to build this around whatever your training plan is. So, if you're in the middle of a marathon prep, you might not want to go into a hardcore cut, but if you are going to do a cut, maybe make it in the beginning of your plan, knowing that you're going to taper up your mileage along the way. Keep in mind, you're going to need to keep most of your runs in zone 2 and not have a lot of intensity and all of that. But we can kind of save that for another time. Mistake number 2 is don't ramp up the cardio too quickly. Taper it up just as you would with tapering down your calories, and you'll have a lot more success with that, and you'll come out at the end a lot more shredded and with a lot more muscle. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and head to H-E-B. That's our local grocery store around here. We gotta go ahead and get a pretty big haul for getting this cut started. So I'll go ahead and catch you all in a bit. All right, we just got back from H-E-B. So how I'm approaching this cut is I'm actually gonna be following more of a meal plan. That's what I like to do. I already do that pretty much already. So meals 1 through 6 is gonna be planned out. Ruthie over here, she's doing more of a macro-based approach. So with macros, she's gonna have a lot more freedom. She's gonna know what macros to hit throughout the day, and however she fills that in, she's gonna be good. She already eats, pretty whole food based anyway, so her macros are gonna be relatively clean, but we're both cutting at the same time. She's just doing it with a macro approach. I'm doing it with an actual meal plan. So this is what we've got. So we've got some pasture-raised eggs, some egg whites. We've got our rice. We've already got a ton of bags of that. We've got some already pre-made meats for Ruth. We've got spinach. We've got some of our vitamin D, some ground beef. Of course, we've got some ice cream for at night. We've got protein pasta, fish oil, chicken, coffee. We've got a bunch of coffee. So kind of the more just typical bro foods. If you've watched my full days of eating, very, very similar to how I eaten with that. It's just, I'm really just dropping the amounts for the cut. I'm gonna do it over time. So mistake number 3 that people make when cutting is that they drop the intensity with their workouts. So, whether you're a volume based person or a intensity based person, like what I talk about, you don't want to drop the intensity in the gym. So you don't want to drop, all your volume if you're doing the very standard volume-based approach in the gym, or you don't want to, just really, really lighten up on the intensity. Of course, the deeper you get into your cut, you're going to have your energy drop. You need to try to push through that as much as possible. The more intensity you have in the gym and the more volume you have, that's going to add to your deficit. That's going to add to you being able to burn fat and all of that. Plus, not only is it going to push you into a greater caloric deficit by having that intensity or the volume being high, but you're also going to keep a lot more of your dense, hard muscle mass throughout the cut. Too many times people drop the volume or drop the intensity, and that's where a lot of the quality mass, the quality size goes away too. So avoid mistake number 3. Don't drop your intensity in the gym. Keep the intensity as high as possible, even when you're getting deeper and deeper and deeper into a cut and you're running out of energy. If you can do that, that's where you come out being shredded, being hard, having that dense tissue still on yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead, get another meal down in me, and then we'll go ahead and talk about point number 4. All right, so I've got meal number 3. Meal number 3 is 110 grams of jasmine rice. 6 ounces of chicken with honey mustard, and the white rice has soy sauce on it. So meal 3 and meal 4, very similar. Only difference with meal 4 is I actually add half a tablespoon of olive oil to the rice, but I keep the soy sauce on there to keep the sodium at least relatively high. But point number 4, mistake number 4 that you absolutely want to avoid when you're cutting, this goes without saying, but you need to clean up the diet. This means you need to pull back the cheat meals. You need to pull back the snacking. I know this sounds like a very, very obvious one, but you'd be shocked at how many people, when cutting, especially the deeper they get into the cut, the more relaxed they get with cheat meals and with snacking. You know, so many people go through and they'll have, instead of a cheat meal, they have an entire cheat day. At night, after they finish their last meal, they're not tracking, all the snacks they end up having, and that really, really, really will halt your progress. So this is where, with cleaning up your diet, highly recommend, if you're in a cut, you need to be tracking this. I use MyFitnessPal, but there's a ton of different ways to track how much you're eating, and then really, really make sure you're locked down on the amount of cheat meals you're having, all of that. You don't need to go have a coach. If you have a coach, great. Essentially, you can just follow with what they're telling you. But if you don't have a coach, give yourself some cheat meals in there to keep you, satiated, to where you keep your cravings under control, all of that. And the deeper you get into your cut, the more you're going to have those. But with that being said, you need to have the self-discipline to actually get very, very, very shredded. But if you go ahead and you clean up the diet, you will get to the point where you are ultra shredded, and then you can go ahead and add back the calories in a smart way, and then you can put on very, very, very quality muscle as you go ahead and you fill back out after the cut. But if you go ahead and you avoid those 4 mistakes, you should have a very, very successful cut. Come through at the end very shredded and with still a good bit of quality, dense muscle tissue with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just want to go ahead and cover kind of the start to my cut. I'm going to take you along this journey. We're going to see how long this goes. I've got a couple dates in mind of, how long to end it. This is going to probably be at least 8 weeks, but I'm probably going to push the envelope and go a bit further rather than doing a very, very drastic cut where I'm just, dropping the calories really quickly, which I told you not to do. I'm going to make this more of a gradual cut to get shredded over a few month period. So I'm going to take you guys along. We might make a series out of this, but definitely drop any comments or questions down below. I love going ahead and answering y'all's questions, connecting with all of you. If you guys enjoyed the video, please do me a huge favor and smash that like button. Make sure to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Be happy, be positive, be powerful, and have a great rest of your day.